Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, it's Comic Crack. Um, so I was doing some organizing, still working through the shelves. I'm still working through the filing cabinets, consolidating stuff, looking to see if there's anything I can get rid of to make some room, cutting down on stuff. And um, I discovered something in there in one of the you know, you see cheap books out in the wild and you just buy cheap books. I'm sure we all suffer from the same affliction. You buy a shit ton of cheap books and then you don't get around to reading them all. So I discovered something that I wanted to share with you all. So in my continuing, it seems like which side should I go? Hey, how about this side? Holy, how about we do that? Hey, look at that. That's sort of a two shot there. So in my continuing kind of fixation on Josh Bayer and kind of being, or Bayer, and rather being kind of absorbed in his world, it feels like all of this stuff is coming to light. So in Theth Tomorrow Forever, that I've spoken about before, the Theth character comes across a comic called Black Star, which is based on Dick Briefer's character Frankenstein. Um, and lo and behold, I had a not only a issue of Buried Treasure with Dick Briefer's Frankenstein, but actually the story that was used as the influence for the Black Star comic. So the Black Star comic elaborates on it a lot, but I thought we'd look at a couple of things. I haven't yet done this, sat and kind of looked at them side by side, so I thought it would be fun. So Caliber Press put out some of these Buried Treasure issues. I've only got two of them, number 2 and 3. So if you do want to hunt this down, it's issue number 3 of Buried Treasure. What's the side? Caliber Press, Pure Imagination is what that symbol is there. Pure Imagination has done a lot of reprints. They did some Basil Wolverton stuff, amongst other things. So in this one, this is the one you're looking for. There's a few stories in here. The Curse of the Sea Witch by Wally Wood, A Love of My Own by Frank Frazetta, and then a Frankenstein story by Mr. Dick Briefer. So the third story is Frankenstein. And again, like it was really great to sit and read this because you really get a sense of what it was that would have appealed to him and how kind of unusual his art is. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I didn't set up my camera another way. So in this, the first panel you get there is of our midget, as he's called in here, on the shoulder of the Frankenstein monster. And you can see Ragamuffin. How's it going, man? You can see the Frankenstein character with his nose way up on the center of his face. Damien was saying on Twitter that Frankenstein has always creeped him out a little bit. And looking at it and thinking of how Frankenstein's monster was made from parts of other people, it is kind of creepy, you know, because you're just going to get these parts that are mismatched from various corpses and stitching them together the best way you possibly can to make this creature. So it is very creepy. So that's the opening page for that story. And then here's what Mr. Bayer gives us on his opening page. J-Rock Reviews, how you doing, man? So you can see, again, just looking at how he's dealt with the Frankenstein monster there, giving him his own twist. I seem to remember one of the passages that appealed to me a lot in Cthulhu Hand Luke. Nice. I like that name. That's great. And Architectural Foam Panels and Columns. How's it going? Thanks, everybody, for jumping on here. So one of the things that stood out to me in the Black Star issue itself. What was this page here on the right, where our midget kind of escapes? He's gone to see Dr. Frankenstein to get a bullet removed from him. Dr. Frankenstein says he's going to call the cops. The cops are closing in on him, so our main character makes an escape and heads down into the sewer, and is kind of picked up by Frankenstein's monster, and that's kind of how they first meet. The midget is helps out Frankenstein's monster because Frankenstein's monster has a bullet in him as well. So that's kind of how they become friends, sort of like the lion with the thorn in his foot. So this is how that passage plays out in Black Star. So same thing, just stretched out over a few more pages. Goes to see the doctor. We get a good look at the bullet wound, and when he makes his escape, I think it's an absolutely amazing page. So the way he lays it out, the way Josh lays it out in this one, you get that kind of what looks almost like an oily bubble from the depths of the sewer, and a hand coming up and is grabbed by Frankenstein's monster, and just you really get the scope and the scale of this creature. Horror works better in black and white. Yeah, no, absolutely. The black and white horror, there's nothing beats it. But I mean, seriously, if you're going to adapt a book, this is a hell of a way to, stretch out that first part of the story just by like an extra page, and then give us one absolutely impactful page, as opposed to just a couple of panels. So I loved that part in Black Star. The rest of the story pretty much plays out the same. He goes to see his crew, who thinks that he's going to he's kind of going to see them, and that's it. I'm done with you guys. I've got someone else. You guys can all hit the road. To which, of course, they're really, really not impressed, and pulling out their guns on him there. And he lets go of a whistle, and Frankenstein's monster comes in to dispatch the old thugs. And let's see how Mr. Bear handles that. So again, it's stretched out a bit. We still get a little bit of interaction with Frankenstein here on for an extra page, as they kind of interact with each other and slink off through the city. These kind of things, these kind of elaborations that he takes, so these kind of things that he uses to stretch out the story and give you like a scope of their place in the city. I love, and again, like I've looked at this now a couple of times, this issue, and same with the Theth book. It really is growing on me in such a way that I find it just stunning, this artwork, as I've kind of absorbed myself more and more. I'm really, really looking forward to see what he comes up with next. And I hope it's along the Theth lines here. So we go back to the doctor, the thug's doctor in the Bayer story here, and that stretches out a little bit too, as he gets the slug taken out of his body, and then breaks the news to the rest of his crew that, I don't need yous guys anymore. And then again, we get the Frankenstein monster coming to save the day, again smashing through the wall just like he did before. But when he dispatches the thugs, we get some absolute just gruesome effect of tearing them limb from limb, with some really, really nice colors there, use of green and stuff there. Really great. Yeah, and then it's stretched out over a couple of more pages, some full page spreads of just grisly goriness. And they kind of continue on to go and rob some banks, and they just kind of start their work on, becoming the crime lords of the city. So where do we go to from there? Yeah, this one plays out a little more. The original Frankenstein, the original Jig Briefer story, plays out a little bit more with this midget calling on Dr. Frankenstein, who ends up coming with his, I'm guessing, partner. I'm assuming wife. Maybe she's listed as an assistant. Comes and he kind of kidnaps them and strings them up. I don't quite remember how that plays out. We'll find out here in a moment, but that plays out a little bit more, which then drives the monster, Frankenstein's monster, into a bit of a rage. Like basically in here, it's presented that stop, you can't shoot him. I won't allow it. I hate that man, but with a hatred so powerful that I'm making sure that he remains alive to suffer my revenge, which is so fantastic right there. So that panel is fantastic. And again, just really amazing art, amazingly strange art from Briefer. Can you imagine a Marvel or DC comic with that artwork? No, I absolutely can't. I can't imagine a Marvel or DC comic with either of these guys' artwork, to be honest. But in this story, though, we still do get Frankenstein's monster grabbing the midget and squeezing him to death, which I was a little surprised at, and I love this panel. Like, here's your final panel, just the eyeballs and the nose and a bunch of text, right? So let's see how Josh plays that out here. We get a lot of kind of heist stuff going on here. Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember now. So in the Bear Black Star, the midget actually goes back to see the doctor to get revenge, so doesn't kind of trick him to coming to him. Yeah. So he goes to get his revenge on the doctor himself. And I love, it's one of the things that stood out in a lot of Bear's work so far for me. The use of how he makes the drapery on fabrics and things, I think is really amazing. It really brings out a texture. Like, that texture to me jumps off that page. So with the same outcome, though, he goes to get revenge. Frankenstein's monster comes in, and again, the same idea of grabbing onto the midget, but again, Josh stretches it out over a number of panels, and we really see him kind of squishing him and making him pay as he protects his, and of course, we want to stretch that out to another page, so we really get the full effect of just the grotesqueness and the horror of it all. So there we go. That's pretty much it. And then, yeah, that was the last page, because then we get some pinups, and we get a couple of pages of cover for Tomorrow Forever, as he's talking about creating the cover for the original, or for the graphic novel, for the collection there, for not the collection, sorry, for the graphic novel. So there you have it. If you want to, I think it pairs all really well. So, I mean, if you do go down this rabbit hole with me into the world of, let's try that. That's a little easier for me. Into the world of Josh Bear, I would suggest grabbing all of this, seeing if you can find it. I'm sure you can find the Buried Treasure Caliber from Caliber on your favorite comic website, or if you have some places in town, dig in those bins for it. Amazing, really, really great to kind of sit and read that original story. I imagine, I was talking to Ryan, Four Color Apocalypse, about it, and he was saying that it's very possible that this is the issue that Josh would have seen, because this would have come out. Oh, no credits on this here. Oh, there you go. A Jazz Age Chronicles advertisement there. I still have to finish that last issue and try that first trade paperback. I just haven't worked up the courage. Yeah, no, there's no year in here whatsoever. That's unfortunate. Oh, I'm lying. Right in front of my face. 1990. So this came out in 1990. So it's very possible that that's the book that he might have seen on the spinner rack. But Yeah, cool, everybody. Thanks very much for hanging out. I've started this tonight, the one by Rick Veitch. It's been on my shelf for a long time, and I've flipped through it numerous times, but I have yet to sit and kind of read it. So pulled that off the shelf to give that a good read. Really looking forward to it. So far, it's really fantastic. It's Veitch at his best. I'm working my way through Halo Jones. I'm on issue 9 of 12, so I'm getting pretty damn close with that. And then this afternoon, I went out because I wanted to pick up the newest Swamp Thing issue, number 4. I'm taking a bit of a break from my pull list, which I know that I'm going to regret eventually as that kind of keeps growing. But I did want to make sure that I got this. And that was a great read. But in the same shop, there was this on sale. Wilson was on sale for $12 in his used. And I read this almost immediately, and this was fantastic by Klaus. So kind of, it's the story of this character Wilson, but it's told through kind of individual comic strip forms, and Klaus uses a bunch of different art styles for it. And it starts off like the first handful of strips are laugh out loud funny. And then once you kind of get an idea of what this story is and where it's going, it becomes more and more intense and kind of like uncomfortable and depressing as you go through, and parts of what the actual underlying story is start to unfold. Because it's I think the pacing in this is incredible, because the first handful of strips, you don't quite know, or I didn't quite know what I was in for. And I think the way that the information was presented with just these kind of one-offs, it wasn't immediately apparent that you were following kind of in a timeline here. Really, really great. You know, it just reminds me, again, like dipping into these 8-ball issues and stuff, it reminds me how much I always loved Klaus, and that I need to kind of make up for time and keep an eye out for more of his stuff that I missed in the interim between kind of when I left off reading 8-ball and Ghost World and Velvet Glove to when I picked up Patience. There's a whole world in there of stuff that I just haven't dipped into. You know, he kind of didn't fall off my radar exactly, but he just wasn't a guy that I was grabbing everything. And the other thing that I read that was, the more I think about it, the more I enjoyed it in all its pornographic glory. I finally read all 3 issues of Big Black Kiss. Found out, I watched a video, and I'm blanking on the channel's name right now, but apparently there was not 1 but 2 follow-ups to this Big Black Kiss. I'm unsure if I'm going to dip into those. I feel like for the time being, I'm going to leave it at this. Man, oh man, this was a hell of a story. This was, you know, he's pulling no punches in this one. We'll talk about that one more in on the live chat on Sunday, which will be on Damien's channel, and then I'll do my usual weekly wrap up, depending on what else I get to read here and what we end up talking about on the stream. So thanks very much, everybody. Appreciate you all hanging out. Architectural Foam Panels and Columns, Gore Vidal, J-Rocks, Ragamuffin, or J-Rock, sorry, and then Cthulhu, Hand Luke. Thanks very much, everybody. Yeah, Black is a wonderfully controversial series. The first series remains the best. Yeah, so have you read the other 2 then, Gore? It was a hell of a read. I really enjoyed it. This kind of idea of this succubus and what's happening and what that kind of means, you know. Yeah, we'll talk about it more. Thanks a lot, everybody. Talk to you later.